Hi folks, I'm Peter Lemieux of Rounding Third and I tell baseball stories. And today I have a story that's about one of the fundamental conditions for a baseball fan. And that's the condition of hope. As baseball fans, let's tell the truth. One team's going to win the World Series and all the other teams are not. And we know that going in. But even no matter where your team is, what brings us back to the ballpark is hope. We're getting better. We're one good player away, two good players away. All we need is for these young guys to do a little better, and this is going to get brighter. It's hope that brings us back to the ballpark or watching our team on the television. Well, I want to take you back a few years, more than a few, almost 75. 1957. This was the plight of the St. Louis Cardinals. Now I want to give you a picture that a lot of you may not understand. St. Louis Cardinals, very proud, rich, winning organization, okay? This may surprise you. They have more World Series appearances than any other National League team. I looked it up. The Dodgers have been to 12 World Series. The Giants, surprisingly, have been to 14. The St. Louis Cardinals have been to 19 World Series. And here we are in 1957. But the Cardinals haven't been to the World Series since the 40s. They got the greatest hitter in baseball, they believe, Stan Musial, and they think they should be going. In 1957, the Cardinals had inched themselves up to second place. There's no playoffs. You win the National League, you go to the World Series. You win the American League, go to the World Series. That's it. Well, the Cardinals in 1957 had improved themselves good enough to second place, never got really that close. They ended up 7 games behind. Shockingly, not the Dodgers, not the Giants, but the Milwaukee Braves had come on with a great team with Hank Aaron and some other great players. The Cardinals had a stalwart starting pitcher named Lindy McDaniel. Lindy McDaniel pitched 21 years in the majors. The first 7 are with the Cardinals. Now, he wasn't their ace, but he was steady. In 1957, Lindy McDaniel won 15 games. He was a rock. He was just a dependable pitcher. However, he had a younger brother, Vaughn McDaniel. And the word on the streets was Vaughn McDaniel can turn this around. Problem. Vaughn McDaniel was in high school. When he graduated from high school, as the season came to an end, the Cardinals brought him up to see how he could do in the majors at the age of 18. In his first game, 2 days out of high school, he pitched a complete game, 2-hit shutout. He ignited hope in the city of St. Louis. This guy, this is going to be the greatest pitcher ever. This will get us over the top. Now, he did have a pretty good season, okay? He finished 7-5 with a 322 earned run average, and he pitched 86 innings, and the thought was he's only going to get better. So when 1958 started and spring training came, Vaughn McDaniel showed up, and he had a problem. He couldn't throw a strike. He was wild, wild, wild. So what they did is they sent him into the minors to help regain his confidence, is maybe the way he was throwing the ball. He went all the way down to the B leagues. Sad part of the story is Vaughn McDaniel never came back. In 1958, he only appeared in 2 games, pitched 2 innings, gave up 5 walks, 3 hits, and was out of baseball at the age of 19. Hope shattered. What happened to him? Well, baseball has a word for that. They call it the yips, where a person forgets how to play his position, not because he's old, not because he's injured, but something happens in the brain that messes it up. Many, many examples of the yips. Probably the one I remember the most is the early 1970 Pittsburgh Pirates. Their ace was a fellow named Steve Blass. If you're Pirate fans from the 70s, you know they won the World Series in 71. Steve Blass was their ace. He won 18 games 2 years in a row. In the 71 World Series, Steve Blass won 2 of the 4 games, including Game 7. He followed that up in 72 with another 18-win season. He was only 31 years old. And just like that, Steve Blass couldn't throw a strike as 1973 started. No matter what they did, he pitched only 88 innings and walked 84 guys. Steve Blass had an earned run average in the low 3s. In 73, it was 985. Like everybody else that gets this, they send him to the minors. They worked on his delivery and everything like that. He never came back. Steve Blass's career was over at the age of 31 because of the yips. A couple other ones I won't tell as long, but I want to remind you. Great pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, John Lester, all of a sudden could not throw the ball to first base. Have a good time. Go on YouTube. Check it. People would take a lead 10, 12 feet off of first base because they knew Lester would not throw over. If he threw to first, the ball would go down the right field line. People bunted on him because he couldn't throw to first. If he got a ball, he would try to underhand it to the first baseman. His pitching was fine. He couldn't make one of the easiest throws in baseball. He had the yips. This also happened to a couple of second basemen. Steve Sachs of the Dodgers, Chuck Knobloch, who ended up going to the Yankees, but when he was on the Twins, they couldn't throw the ball from second base to first. They could make every other play. They were good hitters, but they couldn't make the simple throw, the yips. Now, there's many, many other examples. I'll close with one that's a little more current. The St. Louis Cardinals had another pitcher, 2000, the year 2000, Rick Ankiel, young pitcher. He was so good that Tony La Russa started in Game 1 of the playoffs against the Braves. And that's when the problem started. Game 1 of the playoffs. Rick Ankiel in that game threw 5 wild pitches, walked 6 batters. Somehow the Cardinals came back and won. He continued. They went on to win that part of the playoffs. And against the Mets, Rick Ankiel walked 5 of the 10 batters he faced. So like the other ones, they sent him to the minors. Rick Ankiel could not throw a strike, even though he had a great year. Fortunately for Rick Ankiel, he was a pretty good hitter. So they put him in the outfield, and he became a regular player for a little while. All of these guys suddenly forgot how to make the fundamental plays they used to having. So my question to you folks is, who do you know on your team who disappeared from baseball because of the yips? No injury, no old age. They just lost the ability to do fundamental things. It's a real mystery. And what it is, ultimately, it pops the balloon of hope. You got hope that things are getting better? Not so much. Maybe we're destined to continue on the way we are. So that's my story today, and I put to you this question. In the comments, remind me of other players you cheered for or you knew about whose career ended because of something in their brain that we call the yips. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you guys all have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Join us again for Rounding Third.